So guys, Kell Brook comes out and says that the only reason Spence was able to beat him is because his eye socket went. He goes, I was winning that fight against Errol Spence and my eye socket went, and that was the reason that Errol Spence was able to win that fight. I was ahead in the fight. Now, one thing I want to make a video about that. In my opinion, Kell Brook was Errol Spence's toughest fight. Although Mikey Garcia went 12 rounds, the fight was very one-sided. I actually do agree with Kell Brook. Kell Brook was winning that fight up until, you know, he broke his eye socket, and then Errol Spence started breaking him down. But to me, that was the whole game plan, because before the fight, if you remember in press conference, Errol Spence said he's going to take him into the later rounds and let's see how he feels in the later rounds. And that's exactly what happened. Kell Brook ran out of steam and Errol Spence took him out in the later rounds. So I think that was always Errol Spence's game plan, you know. So, and I don't think, here's the thing. They said that against Golovkin, if my eye didn't go, I think I would have won the fight. Like, you can't say that, because it was the opponent, it was Errol Spence that broke your eye socket. It was Gennady Golovkin that broke your eye socket, and that's part of boxing. It's like saying, if someone breaks your, if a fighter breaks your ribs and you said, oh, if I didn't break my ribs, right, I would have won the fight. It's a stupid thing to say, because it's the fighter that broke your ribs. It's the fighter that broke your eye socket, you know. He landed a punch which ruptured your eye socket. So you can't then start saying, oh, if my eye socket wasn't bad, I would have won the fight. You can't say that. Yeah, you were doing bits in the fight, but you lost. You got knocked out. You know, Amir Khan can say, well, you know, I was beating Canelo. If I didn't get caught with that, you know, anyone can make up some kind of excuse. The fact is, within the 12 rounds, he took you out. I just don't think you can make an excuse. I give Kell Brook credit for that fight, because now looking back at it, Kell Brook did really well in that fight. And it showed how good of a welterweight Kell Brook was. But to say that, you know, it was my eye socket that was the reason that I couldn't win that fight, I think that's a load of crap. Because, like I said, that eye socket was broken because of Errol Spence. You can't say if my eye socket was normal, because if you fight him again, he might break your eye socket again, you know. Maybe that area of yours is weak. If someone punches it, it breaks. So I don't think you can... I don't think you can use that as an excuse. Yes, you were injured, you got hit and your eye socket went, but you can't make that as an excuse to say, you know what, if my eye socket didn't go, I would have won the fight, because it was Errol Spence that broke your eye socket. So I just feel like, you know, it's all right. Kell Brook did well in that fight. Kell Brook showed that he was a top welterweight at the time, the way he performed, because at that time we didn't know how good Errol Spence was. But now looking back at that performance, it's still Errol Spence's toughest fight. But having said that, you've got to understand that Errol Spence hasn't fought the best welterweights out there yet. You know, Mikey Garcia was a 135-pounder. He fought Lamont Peterson. Errol Spence's resume is still fairly weak. Yeah, he fought a pound-for-pounder in Mikey Garcia, but he was a 135-pounder. He hasn't fought the top welterweights for us to come to that conclusion. Because if Errol Spence gets beat by one of the other welterweights, then what? Then Kell Brook's performance over him doesn't look that great. You know, whereas if Errol Spence destroys all the other welterweights, then that performance with Kell Brook does look impressive. And maybe if Kell Brook can actually stop chasing Amir Khan, maybe he could pursue a rematch against Errol Spence, you know, because that fight was good. It was a good competitive fight up until the knockout. So rather than saying, you know, I would have won that fight, my eye socket, get yourself in a position where you can actually fight Errol Spence again and prove us wrong that it was your eye socket that was the reason why you lost that fight. I don't think Kell Brook beats Errol Spence in a rematch. I think Errol Spence is getting better and better, and I think Kell Brook is going down now. And I just think that Errol Spence will beat him a lot easier next time round, because I don't think Brook has the same oomph, the same energy. I think he should have never taken the Golovkin fight, but again, he took it and we saw what happened. But I think Kell Brook is coming down and Errol Spence is continuing to go up. So I think he's, you know, you're going to see a more dominant performer next time if they were to fight. But leave your thoughts, guys. What do you make of Kell Brook saying that if my eye socket didn't go, I would have beaten Errol Spence? Leave your thoughts. And guys, remember to please like, share and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video.